It's the 8 for 52 podcast. Here's Buschy.
Episode 3 is a go as we get seriously stuck into Season 2 of the 8 for 52 podcast. Buschy with you, and the 2024 season continues on, and we welcome two co-hosting duties today. It's the one and only Jamie Atkinson. Oh, yeah, that's a great round of applause. Jamie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, another former My Story guest, now co-host after Carts last week. Did you listen to Carts?
Yeah, I did listen to Carts. I thought he said some really intelligent things for him, actually. I thought there was some really interesting stuff. But
he did set the bar high for the guest host.
Absolutely, and I know it's been a promotion from My Story up to guest host, so I think I've done it well in that I've waited for one episode without Botters. So Carter's obviously had the hard one of having to follow in Botters' footsteps. So I think
they're not very big and good footsteps, so it's not too hard. We love you, Botters.
Yeah, it's good to see you missing him anyway.
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, well, let's move on. We've got a huge podcast to get through, Atko, and let's start with player moves and non-moves. We talked about the official transfers in episode 1, but there have been other developments during the last 2 weeks.
Some interesting ones as well.
Well, we'll start with a non-move, and I mentioned it literally last week on the podcast, and then 6 or 7 hours later, I see on Instagram a photo of Pakistan Association Cricket Club from one Nazrullah Runner who was going to transfer to USRC. Now he's staying at PACC.
Yeah, that was an interesting one because I know there was obviously talk last season of him going across to USRC.
Well, he didn't even play the second half of the season for PACC.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure what's going on, but there's a lot of love again because he's staying. And another one that's over at PACC, 2 more in fact. Someone coming out of retirement said that he wasn't going to play anymore for HKCC. Who was that?
That was Haroon Arshad. So saw him on the scorecard this week.
Got a forfeit, didn't he?
Got a forfeit. Welcome back.
Well, and he's not the only one at PAC. What's going on at PAC? I thought India Club had stolen everybody, but Gaz is over there now as well.
And I think that's a really good signing to get Gaz in there. Very, very good spinner. So they've got a fairly useful side, I'd say, this year.
That's quite a bowling lineup.
Absolutely. So, I mean, God knows how many international caps they've got in that bowling lineup because last week they didn't even have Tanvir Afzal or Yasim.
Yeah.
So, again, they're to come back in.
So, when there are internationals, everyone can beat PAC.
Well, I mean, it might be a good time to play them when they've got a few of their players away, but, again, they're still going to have a fairly stacked bowling lineup when a lot of the national team are away. Yeah,
it's a very, very good side now, PAC on Sunday and PAC Premier. And some internal moves we noticed last weekend at the game here at KCC, which I called You Played In. The HKCC teams have mixed things up now that the Wanderers are in Division 1 on Sunday Elite. And then, I get to the game, I put in the team, get my shirt on, get my headset on, and I look down and Nazaket Khan's out there for the Wanderers.
I'm thinking they're pretty happy with that to get Nazaket back into the top order, but they've also... looking at that team sheet anyway, they've also got Martin Kutsia to
he didn't play, so that's big news.
I know that is big news, and he just had the birth of his son, Logan Kutsia, so congratulations, Martin. Obviously staying in the good books there to make sure he's at home supporting the family rather than playing at KCC on Sunday. So the
probably handy for the KCC Templars that you didn't have Martin out there as well.
Yeah.
And speaking of player movements, not only just in men's, I'm hearing like lots of women's players have followed Imran across to India Club. And once again, I'd like to ask whoever has the credit card at India Club buying all these players that they're more than welcome to sponsor the 8 for 52 podcast. I'll be quite happy to call it the India Club 8 for 52 podcast. Anyway, I jest. We've got the women's cricket wrap coming up with Tammy Chu. It returns this week. That's a great news segment. We're going to talk about last week's games and the weekend games coming up. And speaking of perhaps future women's cricket players, we just talked about Logan, might be a new future men's player for Hong Kong. All of us here at the 8 for 52 podcast would like to say congratulations to former KCC Saracen and CHK Dragon player Arthur Chu, or Arthur Choi as Botters used to call him, and his wife Evie on the birth of their baby daughter Ingrid. I've seen the pretty little baby photos on Instagram. Yay, well done, a KCC maiden in the making, I'm sure.
Congratulations, Arthur.
He's over there in the UK. So his cricket season's done and he's now on probably dad duties. Lucky that. We've got a massive ins and outs and ins to get through and a brilliant My Story this week. A last-minute change. There were some hints on who was going to come this week, but that person is either currently on a plane or about to get on one, so we couldn't get him in. But we've got a new person coming in. Do you want to give us any tips, any hints on who's coming?
Yeah, just before he comes in as well, before I mentioned the name, I'm sure a few batters in Hong Kong may be having some nightmares whenever they hear him talk. They see him on the team sheet. potentially the most dangerous bowler in Hong Kong at the moment. We've got a very special guest, Ateeq Iqbal.
Yo, that gets a round of applause as well. We'll get Ateeq in later on. Quick useless stat for you here, Jamie. The 8 for 52 podcast is the 9th most listened to cricket podcast. This is 2 weeks in a row now. Can you guess which country?
Did you mention it in the podcast last week?
Did I?
I don't know because
I can't remember the podcast, but if I think I forgot it last week, so I'm putting it in this week.
Any clues or what continent?
Well, let's say
test the geography there.
It's a country that spans 2 continents, and no point would you think they played or any interesting cricket.
2 continents? Could you say Turkey?
Yeah, I reckon there's probably some Turkey players in Turkey. This one's even less on the radar. Big country. Russia. 9th most popular podcast, cricket podcast that is, not the most popular podcast, but the 9th most listened to cricket podcast in Russia is the 8 for 52 podcast.
What a stat.
I know, right? No Sky Plaza Road this week because there's no movements going on, but we have heard that the women's team is on the move soon. We're not going to do a wrap on that this week in the women's cricket wrap, but we will do it next week. Buschy's birthday bonanza as always, including a birthday we didn't know about on Sunday. Did we, Jamie? Did you know about that birthday on Sunday? Because it wasn't in my spreadsheet and kept it very quiet. One of the players out there for the Templars had a birthday on Sunday.
They've kept that one quiet. I didn't even know that either.
Yeah. I asked him after the game, after I found out, and I'm like, you didn't tell anyone? He goes, I just want to keep it quiet. So we'll give him a shout out later in the... so listen in to Buschy's birthday bonanza for that one. That's about it. Should we get on with the show?
Absolutely. Let's go for it.
Giddy up.
And now it's time for Outs and Ins with all last week's action in Hong Kong. Take us away, Buschy.
Yep, it's time for Outs and Ins. We're going to cover all last weekend's games, plus we're also covering this Wednesday's game. As we're recording, there's games live, and we're going to go all through them, Jamie, but we'll start with last weekend. Saturday League Division 1. Tartars versus Nomads, washout. Sky Warriors versus Jing Sung, washout. Laguna Gully versus Hong Kong Cricket Club Witherers, washout. CCC Hung See versus Pac Championship, game on. Now, how did they get a game on at GDB when everybody else was under torrential rain? It was just amazing. Anyway, they did, somehow.
Well, it could be the big slope they have out there, just the water running off the surface, just off the outfield.
Maybe the centre wicket's above the clouds because it's so sloopy out there. Anyway, who did I say? It was Pac Championship, the formerly known as Pac Rising Stars rename. And it seems to have worked in this game because it was a thumping victory for the Pac Championship. Hung See putting 111 on, not a terrible effort, all out in the 34th, but didn't take much for Pac Championship to run that down. A big opening partnership of 113 got him over the line straight away. Hafiz Khan scoring 81 off 53 deliveries. Thank you very much. 9 fours and 3 sixes.
81 out of 113. Well, another person scored a few.
Oh, it's Samir Tariq, and he just got 27 and was doing he only faced 35 balls, so it looks like Hafiz Khan faced most of the deliveries. Tough work out there for Hung See. So Pac Championship get their championship off to a good start after being relegated. Now, 3 games on Wednesday to cover for the Saturday Division 1 and 2. Some are still going. We are broadcasting. It's now 5:15 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon here at Kowloon Cricket Club. So we'll bring you the games that have completed, and the rest you'll have to just check it out online, and we might cover it next weekend. But next week for the podcast, we'll see. Yoda's Lama's still going. Is that correct, or is that finished? No, that's finished.
That's finished.
That's Saturday Div 1 out at Mission Road.
That was a low-scoring game, so that was the 90 all-out beat 70 all-out for Lama.
So Lama put on 90...
Oh, let's say
90-something, and they bowled the Yodas out. The Yodas, with their new superstar, Niaz Ali...
So it's actually, so it's 93 all-outs.
Yeah.
Played 70 all-outs, so Lama won by 23.
Oh, wow. That's a huge win for Lama over the cashed-up India club.
So that's Tom Booth, 4 for 13 off his 7.
Wow.
And then wickets shared around with Roberts picking up 2 and Brenton McDonald taking 2 as well.
So young boys.
Win.
One of the broadcasters for Cricket Hong Kong. Hopefully we'll see him behind the microphone again soon. Just got married last year. That's why he took a break from broadcasting. Saturday Div 2 games. We know that the game here at KCC is over. It was the Saracens versus the Punjab Lions. What happened in that game?
We'll bring this up again.
Okay, Jamie's working furiously getting these games up live.
We've got them up. So 112 for 9, the Saracens, and
so they batted out there. I thought they got balled out. Did they bat out their 35? Oh, well done.
So 112 for 9.
Not a big total.
Below par, you'd definitely say at KCC, and Punjab Lions 118 for 4.
Do you have the fall of wickets there? Because I believe the Punjab Lions were in a world of hurt at one point.
So they were at one stage 17 for 4.
17 for 4. Saracens, always breaking my heart. They've managed to... That's a bit like what happened with the Scorps, which we'll talk about later on, but 4 for 17, and then all of a sudden that was the last wicket to fall, I believe.
They put on 100 for the 5th wicket with Jagraj Singh, 55 not out. Nice way to start the season for him.
Lovely. And the other two games, I believe, are still going. That's the Witherers and Pack Championship, who played on Saturday against Hung See. They're playing again today. I think they're playing again on the weekend as well. That's the Witherers game. That's still going and still got plenty of runs.
Well, we could have a bit of a first here. We could predict a live game, see what things we can... So Witherers...
We didn't get to tip these Wednesday games because I forgot them last week.
So Witherers 214 all out.
Oh, yeah, not a bad score for 35
Pakistan
overs.
Association are currently 160 for 2, so they need 55 or 54 with 8 wickets left.
Well, that's not a tough one. I'm picking Pack Championship to run that one down. They scored 113 opening partnership in the first game, and they're only 2 down in the 160s this time. I'm penciling Pack to go back-to-back in 4 or 5 days.
I think Pakistan Club are going to struggle to lose that one from there, I think. And the other game we've got is LSW Thunder, 198 all out, and Hong Kong U are currently 123 for 6, according to this, so they need 76 or 48.
Oh, that's a bit tougher, isn't it? I'm gonna say the Thunder are going to get over the line there.
I'm going to say Thunder as well for that one.
Okay, well, find out. We might give it a wrap next week in ins and outs and ins. We'll see how we go. Let's move on. That's the live Wednesday games we're talking about, but we need to get to Sunday games from last weekend. It was all Div 1 as far as I'm aware. Let's start at Mission Road, 9:20am. USRC Elite versus that Pack Elite team with their bolstered bowling lineup of Nasrullah staying, Haroon and Gaz joining them. This was a pretty comprehensive win for the Pack.
Yeah, fantastic start to the season. 189 all out there for USRC Elite. Below par score at Mission Road, I'd say. And they knocked them off very, very comfortably. 9 wickets to spare. Nice, and a few not outs there as well.
Yeah, 191 for 1. Hafiz Khan scoring on both days. Top scores, gets player of the match for that game. Haroon Ashad, we'll talk about. Haroon's just left. Last I heard, 2 weeks ago, Haroon Ashad retired, left HKCC, off to start a clothing business or something.
I also heard that as well.
Week later,
it's back in.
He's at Pack. And he's at Pack taking 4 for 41 against USRC Elite. So that's a pretty good bowling lineup they've got going on there. Move on to what was some sort of a unbelievable comedy up the hill. The HKCC Scorpions versus the Vagabonds. So the Scorpions, let's talk about that. What were they? I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. It was something like 5 they have 33 for 5?
Yeah, I remember looking at the scorecard at lunch. Someone had told me well, I won't say the exact score yet because we'll get to that. But they look at the scorecard. I won't mention someone who scored some runs just yet as well. But the scorecard went 0, 1, 9, 8, 11 maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, that fell apart. Yep. Vagabonds had this game, 33 for 5. They were going to chase down 110 and they were going to win this one easily, except for Anshuman Rat.
So yeah, he's had a decent day there, I'd say. It's not too bad.
I mean, there's a competitive batter from the case. He's had a decent day. 247 off 132.
It's incredible. 22 fours, 17 sixes. And that's a score of 247 out of a team total of 343.
Yeah, and he was only basically supported by David Jakir, the timeless keeper up there at HKCC, chipped in with 45. They put together a highlight package of Anch's win on HKCC YouTube. It went for 5 minutes and 42 seconds, and it didn't include all the 4s and 6s because it was already too long.
Yeah, I mean, incredible effort. I mean, I think we need to. I don't know if we've got any stats men on the podcast yet, but I would be interested to know what the highest percentage of runs of a team total has been scored.
Oh, that's a very interesting stat.
I mean, if someone to score 247 out of 343,
yeah.
What are the...
I mean, that's the other thing. Scorpions were bowled out.
Yeah.
They didn't even bat the full 50. They got 343. Oh, outrageous from Atch, and chasing it down. They tried hard, but they got done by the younger Matter. Veer Matter with the ball in hand playing for the Scorps. Shiv plays for the Wanderers, which we'll get to shortly. But Veer, 5.2 overs. Is that five for 25?
5 for 25.
Outrageous. Good bowling from Veer Matter. And the Vagabonds bowled out for 213.
Comprehensive there.
The score actually isn't like that because it got DLS. They lost overs and whatever. But big win for the Scorps up the hill. That was, quite the game. There was another good game going on last Sunday. We broadcast it live on KCC YouTube. You played in it. Interesting game as well. The newly promoted Wanderers coming down here with their new, at least one new signing, Nazaka Khan moving across from Scorps. We didn't see Martin Kudsia because of the baby duties. But, it was a good bowling effort from KCC after losing the toss, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were also going to have a bat first there. I mean, at one stage, the Wanderers were 100 for 3, and a nice 50 from Matt Rosley there.
That was a grinding captain's knock. He did very well when he was out there.
Yeah, so it was we were very, very happy to see the back of him in the end. But to get them from 100 for 3 to 180 all out on the with the bowling efforts mainly of Wakas Barker, who picked up 4 for 36 of his
player of the match.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he
well
did great.
Deserved as well.
Timeless Wakas Barker getting in there, getting the wickets. Do we just want to quickly touch on the most comical wicket I've ever called in my broadcast career? That one of Ben Zanol. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I was out of deep cover.
So your new recruit, Fahad Hyatt, bowls an absolute beaut to Matt Rosley.
Yeah.
Yorker takes out middle stump, lights up the stumps, out. Umpire McDonald, arm out, calls no ball.
Yeah.
The ball runs off from the wicket, runs backward of square, runs away. Rosley and Zanol decide, quick, it's a no ball. So Matt's come down to go, Ben's come down to go. The ball's gone to Carter, but the stumps are gone, so he hasn't picked it up. Rosley gets back in his stumps and holds the ball, but Rosley's back. Ben Zanol still standing in the middle going, okay, it must be dead ball, it's fine. Carts throws it down the other end. I think it was Jay Davidson, takes the bail off and Zanol's gone. Yeah. So on a no ball, two wickets fell. It was bowled and a run out, and Ben had to go. I've not seen that before in cricket.
Even more strange as well, because I haven't watched the replay back yet, but he also got hit on the pad first, so it'll be interesting to see if there's anywhere close to an LBW before I hit the stump. So,
a triple wicket.
So, again, not sure exactly how it happened, but...
we restricted him. You restricted him to 185 for 10. Good start from Sonny Bimsaria. The birthday boy went out to open with the timeless Roy Lamson, put some good runs on. Roy didn't get it start, unfortunately. Then and Sonny got out, I think it was on 61, and well in control, lots of runs, had a DLS. You and Bubba went out there and then just, caused chaos. Balls being lost here, left, right and centre. What did you get, 58 or so? No, that was Matt.
50
odd, and Bubba fell he goes on 46 not out when the rain came. Yeah. And the rain came in the middle of the night, 20th over, and we all learnt on Sunday, 20 overs makes a game. The game continued. There was chaos going on. Adil Mahmood refused to bowl the last 2 deliveries. Matt Rosley bowled them, came off. Not only that, so the game came off. You guys were on 142 for 2, and then the game finally got called, and you guys were like 80 runs ahead of where you needed to be, had to be in the 20th over. So you won on runs because of the way the DLS works, but in the system, you won by 9 wickets originally, even though you'd lost 2 wickets, and now you've won by 8 wickets. So I'm not sure what's going on with that.
I originally saw that 9 wickets, and then someone said to me, they said, your runs don't count now because you've won by 9 wickets. And I was thinking, I'll have to get on the phone here.
Absolutely.
Take all the runs I can get.
Well, That's the wrap for outs and ends. A crazy end to what was a crazy weekend of cricket. Lots of washouts and lots of half games, but it was great to see cricket back on. We got plenty of games coming up. Check that out. And coming up at Ins and Outs, just quickly, we had Chris Carter on last week in the podcast, and we did our tipping, as we will do very shortly in Ins and Outs. Aaron got 4. Cards got 4. So we're equal on. So you now have to try to get ahead of Buschy on the tipping. Not hard, as Bottas proved last year, but at the moment, the tables are tied.
I'm backing myself to be both yours and Carter's score this week. I'm feeling fairly confident.
Oh, it's a big call. Better listen out. Coming up now, it's going to be Ins and Outs.
Ins and Outs next. All the upcoming action in cricket in Hong Kong. Take us away, Buschy.
Yes, time for Ins and Outs. We're going to check out all the games coming up this weekend in men's senior cricket on Saturday and Sunday. Jamie, this is where you put your tipping skills to the test. After last week, I think Carts and I were equal, 4-4, with a lot of washouts helping me. Saturday, Div 1, 1 p.m. right here at Kowloon Cricket Club where we're recording. The KCC Crusaders versus the India Club Yodders.
I think this is gonna be a big one. I think there's a certain...
Is there a certain rivalry going to happen?
I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a rivalry, but there is a very, very successful KCC bowler over the last few years who has made the transfer over to India Club, and I fancy Niaz Ali. I think he'll be fancying a few wickets on Saturday. I think he'll be pretty fired up.
He certainly knows the KCC wicket, and that left arm is going to be ferocious. With the Crusaders, they're going to go there with their strong side as well. Ooh, who are you going to pick in this one?
I think at home, early start of the season, I'm going to go Crusaders. I think they've got a fairly well-balanced team. I know they struggled a little bit last season, but looking again, they've got, like I said, a fairly decent batting lineup as well. So I'd back them to get through.
We record on a Wednesday, so we're going in blind. We don't know what teams are playing.
Can't give the 11 yet. No,
literally anything could happen. But I'm going to go the Crusaders as well at home for the first one. We'll see how they go, but it's going to be a tough test against the new cashed-up India Club, Yodders. Up the hill, HKCC, 1 p.m. It's the USRC Tigers versus the HKCC Gap Ramblers. Now, we know that USRC have bled a lot of players. We talked about that earlier in the intro and the like. Tigers, that's their stronger side, is it? The Lions or the Tigers are the stronger side? Maybe both. Neither are this year.
I don't know. You might say one side, and then you'll get complaints from the other side saying that we're the stronger team. So we have to. I think we'll Tigers versus Lions, when they have the little derby game, that'll be
yep. Okay.
Interesting one. But
Gap Ramblers is going to be a tough test up the hill.
Yeah, Gap Ramblers at home. I'm going to back them there. Gap Ramblers at HKCC.
Yeah, it's hard to pick against the Gap Ramblers at home. Now, we just talked about the Lions from the USRC up against the SCC Lancers at Ting Kong Road. They're out there at Mission Road on 1 p.m. on Saturday. Did the Lancers go up into Div 1?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so they're the promoted side. And Lions, I think, were mid-table.
Yeah.
Low table. So this is going to be a good test to see if the Lancers can survive in Div 1.
I backed HKCC in the last game we spoke about there, so I'm going to go with USRC for this one against the Lancers' newly promoted side.
I'm always a bit nervy with the promoted sides. I need to see them in action against the tougher competition. HKCC, we're going into Div 2 now as the trolley goes trucking on by. Saturday, Div 2, HKUCC, who are playing right now, actually, as we record that Wednesday game, versus Craigengower's Hung Si at GDB at 1 p.m.
I noticed the GDB there. You know, it's a shame that Hong Kong U don't play at Hong Kong U anymore. I don't know if you were ever around when they played.
Was that down at Sandy Bay?
Down at Sandy Bay.
Yeah.
A tiny, tiny postage stamp ground there.
Somebody I was talking to last week was having fond recollections of their time playing down at Sandy Bay.
And they had a player there called Hussein Butt who played for Hong Kong for a long time and for Hong Kong U, and I think he cost them a fair amount of money in lost cricket balls. But for GDB, I'm going to also back HKU for that one.
Yeah, I like the Hung Si. They got absolutely pumped last weekend, as we found out in outs and ins. So it's going to be a tough one out there, and I'm going to stick with HKU myself, who had a good start to the season last year. Now, this one will be an interesting choice, not for Jamie. It's Centaurs, one of his former teams, up against the Surias out of Cam 10 at 1 p.m.
Well, you know, you've already said it there, Buschy. There's no way that I'm not going to back the Centaurs here. There's a place in my heart for the Centaurs. So I'm going to back that. And I'm sure...
I think you did this last year when you were on as one of the shows, because I think you're now the number one guest host.
What an honour.
Yeah, you were in there twice last year and again now this one. So I know your Centaurs love, and I think you picked them last year. I picked against them and I was wrong, and I'm going to pick against them again. India Club at their home ground of Campton. I'll go with the Surreal just to mix things
up. One of those Centaurs. Don't let me down here.
There we go. Well, Jamie will be right all over you next week if that's an incorrect tip. Let's move on to Sunday Elite Div 2 to start with. India Club Brahmas versus the Sri Lanka Lions Cricket Club Lions. I don't have where they're playing on my little team sheet, but they're playing somewhere, I promise. Sunday Div 2 game.
I'm going to go India Club for that one, particularly with some of the off-season signings that they've made.
Yeah, that's wise.
Again, I think they're going to be pretty strong in Div 2 this year. I know they're going to be trying to get up to Div 1 come the end of the season, so I'm going to back the India Club to go through that.
Yeah, I agree. Brahmas for me as well. Let's get on to Sunday Div 1, shall we? We're going to start right now with a game that I've got to get my little piece of... get something off my chest with this first game, because the team playing in the first game at 9:25am at Ting Kwong Road Recreation Ground was relegated the last time I was doing a podcast last year. Diaspora Little Sowon, JKN, but they're under the Sunday Div 1 banner versus USRC Elite. What happened there?
I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I got the fixture list this season. We're obviously checking out what Sundays are we playing, and I saw Little Sowon there. I said, they're still in? I don't know. I don't know how
Khan Charm keeps them in Div 1 somehow. I believe India Club has put an extra team into Div 2, which has meant that it's evened out, and I'm sure that's why Little Sowon have survived. Anyway, I don't know if Ehsan's playing this weekend. It's against the now slightly weakened USRC Elite, me losing Imran. Mission Road. I mean, it's a case of is Ehsan playing or not, and which we don't know. Is he in town?
Yeah, he is in town, and he's not got any injuries or anything like that. So I would back him to be playing. Mr. Lil Sowon will be playing.
Play because he's now kept the team up in Div 1. So get out there at Mission Road. Okay, so who's your pick? We don't know if Ehsan's playing, but I'm leaning towards Little Sowon myself.
You're going Lil Sowon? I'm going to go USRC Elite. Reason being, I know they've still got a few strong batters in there. I mean, Akbar Khan, Mr. Consistent, still there.
True.
Shahid Wasif still there. Bakas Khan, so I think that's a pretty solid 3-4-5. I think they were all batting 3-4-5.
I don't want to see Little Sowon as bad as they were last season, so that's where it's my heart going, come on,
okay.
Let's go. Back up the table for the Little Sowon JKN. Other game, 10am at HKCC Vagabonds versus the HKCC Wanderers, the other USRC team. Saw the Wanderers in action. You played against them last weekend. We know that Martin's missing. Is Martin got to have 2 weeks off for baby duties, or is he back, do you reckon?
I'm not sure whether he will be back, but even...
Or you're just not telling me so you can get the tip in yourself. Yeah, go
on. I wouldn't tell him. That's true, I wouldn't tell you anyway. But even if Martin isn't there, I'm going to back the Wanderers there. The Vagabonds, obviously, last week at HKCC had a long...
we talked about that in the outs and ends. There's 2 parts to that game. If you just look at the fact that they had the Scorps at 5 for 33, that's a dangerous team for the Vagabonds. It was the bit that happened after that, of course. I feel like the Vagabonds are just going to be down in the dumps after that one, and they're going to get a backup as a second HKCC team, and I'm going to go the Wanderers, even though the Wanderers had a loss against the Temps. Who are you picking?
I went Wanderers as well.
Wanderers as well. Yep, okay. Now, onto a game we hope to see you featuring in this Sunday. Will be broadcast live on KCC YouTube from 10am. It is the Sunday Elite Division 1 game, KCC Templars versus Pack Elite. This game is huge. Pack Elite, the only team that's actually managed to get 2 full games in, top of the table, 4 points. Underneath them, on 3 points, it's the Temps, who have won 1 big one and had 1 washout. This will decide for sure, pretty much I'm thinking, this will decide who goes top of the table after the weekend. Absolutely. I mean, it's a bit hard. It's a bit like with Tammy coming up in the women's cricket wrap. She's playing a game for a team, so she's not going to pick against them. So I'm just going to put a T next to your name, and we're going to talk about what we think the game's going to go like. We talked in the intro about all those big-name bowlers that they've got at Pack. We said that Yassim was missing last weekend. He should be back. Zishan played. He had a finger injury, didn't keep, but he still went out there and smashed a few and got some runs on the board. They've had 2 big wins. They're looking dangerous, as they always do every season.
Yeah, they are looking very dangerous. I mean, Zishan was fantastic in Malaysia only a few weeks ago. It's like, I was about to ask if he was using a bat or a cannon as the ball was going that far.
I think the ball was like a beach ball, so just easy to hit.
But again, they've always been strong, though. I mean, they're always there or thereabouts every season. Very, very consistent. We've had some very, very close games against them. There's 1 year, or was it 3 years in a row, we lost to them by 1 wicket. We had them. We were talking earlier about Vagabond having Scorps on the ropes at one point, but I remember us getting PACC on the ropes a few times, and then Sonny would then save them. He did that a couple of times. I'm sure he'll be back again at probably his favourite ground in Hong Kong. Gets loads of runs here. But look, we'll have all of our national players as well.
Is Azaz back?
Azaz will be back.
He was at his coaching.
So he's in a coaching course in China, so he'll be back. So again, it should be close to full strength for both teams. But
so what difference does Haroon and Gaz make then to a team that would have been very tight? You say you guys go 1 wicket, 1 run, 2 runs here and there. Are those 2 going to be the difference?
Well, I mean, obviously the bowling becomes a lot stronger, doesn't it? I mean, usually in the past, you've got Tanvir Afzal up in the bowling, and he's going to be bowling his 10 overs very, very accurately. You're thinking, right, if you get through Tanvir Afzal, okay, who's coming next? They had Eftan Nawaz opening the bowling, again, very consistent. Yasim.
Yeah, but so you're going to have Yasim and Gaz versus Dan and Wakas.
So that's another little battle there.
The spinners, depending on
left
what
arm
pitch.
versus left arm, right arm versus right arm. I'm not sure what pitch it is on yet. I know they're playing on Astro in the midweek, so hopefully the turf's ready. It was pretty decent last Sunday. I expect it to be the same
until it rained. A lot. Okay, I'm calling the game just to be different and probably get yelled at by a few people. I'll pick Pack this week, but I'm in my heart. I will be wanting. I'll be broadcasting for KCC. It'll be in my heart that you're going to win, but I'm just going to mix it up so we've got a bit of excitement in the podcast.
I know you've got a soft spot for PACC.
I do.
Well.
They are my team when KCC aren't playing.
Yeah.
But this weekend, I think it's going to be an absolute cracker. Come on down to KCC if you're a member and watch live from 10 a.m. If not, tune in. Hong Kong's #1 YouTube channel for cricket broadcasting. KCC YouTube will be live from about 9:50 a.m. That's going to be a cracker. That's it for Ins and Outs.
Always denied entry by the English gentry. Now we're driving Bentleys, playing 2020.
Yes, it's time for the Women's Cricket Wrap again this week. Back into the podcast, and again, joining us as always, the expert on women's cricket here in Hong Kong, Tammy Chu. Tammy, thanks for joining us again.
Hi everyone, I'm Tammy.
Right, let's first run through last weekend's game, shall we?
Yeah.
And our tips and see how we did. Div 2, I'll start with Div 1. Lantau Ladies versus the KCC Maidens.
Yeah.
Wasn't the morning game, but it's the first one listed here, 11:30 PKVR Reservoir. We both picked the Lantau Ladies.
Yeah.
And I was watching the score online while broadcasting the Templars game.
Okay.
And I think our tips were pretty solid on an 8-lady team for the KCC Maidens. Only 8 players available.
Yeah.
And am I correct in saying they were bowled out for 11?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Suboptimal score, but it's the start of the season. I saw the KCC Maidens after the game back here at the ground. And glass half full. Can only go up from here. How did the Lantau Ladies do? They chased it down in an over
2 overs, yeah.
So that was a big win for the Lantau Ladies first up. Also in Div 1, that was the 2:30 p.m. game. The Yasqua Little Saiwan Wasps versus the CCC Sunrisers. And our tips on this one parted ways. You went with the Wasps. I went with the Sunrisers. What was the result, Tammy?
Wasps got... I think the game got shortened, right? It's because of the rain.
Oh, it's possible. Everything has been.
Yeah, so they said Wasps got 51 for 5 in 16 overs.
Okay.
And then by the DLS method, it's a 14-over game, and then the target is 60, and then Sunrisers chase it down in 9 overs.
9 overs. Big win in the tipping there for Buschy. He trusts his CCC Sunrisers. I saw on Instagram, I think it was Carrie had it up there with the win and the winning board, so I knew I got that tip in. The second division game that was at 8:30, I think we obviously got a result. That was a morning game. Link Fireflies, the new Link team that I named, versus the HKCC Diamonds. We both went with the Fireflies.
Yeah.
And how did we do?
And they won by 109 runs.
Blimey, the new team, the new upstarts in Div 2, Link Fireflies, have gone boom against the HKCC Diamonds.
Yeah.
That's a huge win to start with.
Huge win.
Okay, well, that's last weekend's games. That leaves our tip tally after one round.
Yeah.
Tammy 2, Buschy 3.
Yeah.
I had a clean sweep that week. Well, good on me. Let's see how we go this week. We'll just do the one game in Div 1 out at PKVR Reserve at 2:30 p.m. It's the SCC Divas against the mighty HKCC Willow Wilders, who you play for, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So do I need to ask for your tip on this one?
No, I would definitely go for the Willows.
Okay. Actually, I'm going for the Willows as well. They are very, very strong side, and good luck to the Divas, but it's going to be a tough battle.
Yeah.
Div 2, we get to see a whole bunch of teams we've not talked about yet.
Yep.
First game, Link Fireflies, who had that massive win last weekend against the USRC Eagles.
Yep.
From 8:30 a.m. PKVR, if you want to head out and have a watch. What's your tip on that one after that big Link win?
I would still go for Link Fireflies because I think USRC missed some players.
Yes.
They got some transfer.
I've had a little chat sideways with some people during the week, and we mentioned it in the intro, in fact, about how USRC has lost a lot of players, not just the likes of Imran Arif in the men's side, but the women's side's also bled out as well. That's going to be a tough battle for the Eagles, so we're both going with the Fireflies.
Yep.
And then at 11:30 a.m, we'll stick with PKVR Reserve, because the game after that, HKCC Diamonds. Oh, it's a derby. It's a derby.
Yeah.
It's the Diamonds versus the Cavaliers, both teams from Hong Kong Cricket Club. What do you know about these teams? We know the Diamonds have already played and suffered the big loss.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the Cavaliers yet.
Cavaliers actually got some good players and they have been playing for a few seasons already. So, and some young girls playing for them. So
Pride on the line, both being HKCC teams.
Yeah.
Who are you thinking on that one?
Oh, Cavaliers.
Me too. I like the name. That's all I'm going with on this one. And the final game of the round, Div 2, Lama Roses versus another team that I've not heard about before, India Club Velocity, out at Cam 10 this one, 11:30 a.m. One of my sources this week, in fact, Myra Belote, is gone from USRC to the Velocity.
Yes, that's true.
Now, Myra was right on the cusp of the Hong Kong China women's team when they went on tour to the Netherlands. That's a pretty fierce left arm to be playing Div 2 out at Cam 10.
Yeah.
So I've got to back Myra, because otherwise she'll literally hunt me down and punch me in the face. Who do you think, Lama Roses or Velocity?
I would go for Lama Roses because
Okay.
they're playing in Cam 10. Cam 10 is small ground.
It is a small ground, you're right. It should be technically the Velocity's home ground, being
Well,
Cam
yeah,
10 for
yeah.
Indian Club. But there's the change in the tips this week. Lama Roses for Tammy, and I will pencil in a Velocity win with Myra Belote. Getting a fifer, I told her. I said, just go out there and get a fifer. No problems. Michelle, easy done at Cam 10. We'll see. So they're the games this weekend. In Div 2, Lama Roses versus India Club Velocity, 11:30 a.m. Cam 10. The Diamonds Cavaliers HKCC Derby at PKVR, 11:30 a.m. Before that, the Link Fireflies USRC Eagles, 8:30 a.m. And the big Div 1 game, which you'll be featuring in, and we'll be talking a lot about your effort next week.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull the full scorecard up, so make sure you take your A game to PKVR Reserve at 2:30 p.m. Tammy Chu, once again, thank you for joining us on the 8 for 52 podcast.
You're welcome.
And now it's time for My Story, where the superstars of cricket come in and tell us their story.
Yes, now it's time for our My Story guest. Jamie, who have you brought in today?
Well, we're really excited about this one. KCC and Hong Kong Premier opening bowler. We've got the GOAT, as he's affectionately known by everyone at KCC, Ateeq Iqbal. Welcome, Ateeq.
Thank you, Jamie, for having me.
Well, let's start. It's my story. I don't know, you've probably heard it on the podcast. We start with, what is your story? What's your background? Where were you born and when did you get into cricket? So let's start with, where were you born and first time you played cricket?
Obviously, from Pakistan. I was born in Kashmir in Pakistan. So I was few months when I came to Hong Kong first. Then we were in and out. Then by 96, 97, our whole family moved to Hong Kong. And I started my primary school. In primary school, I obviously cricket wasn't my first choice. I was into football and basketball more. I was a big fan
I'm
of...
shaking my head.
Can't believe it.
Disbelief. Somebody this talented was going to waste it on soccer.
Football.
Soccer. Anyway, carry on.
So I started playing cricket when I was about 11, 12.
Was it a primary school that played
Yeah, primary
cricket?
school, yeah.
So there
So
was
we
a
just
primary-
started for fun.
Yeah.
It was first year our primary school started cricket. So obviously being...
Was it a school known in Hong Kong for cricket? Or
No.
Just you
Yeah.
and your friends.
Yeah, just me and my friends. So we just started playing cricket, softball cricket. We used to have welcome. Now we call it Playground Cricket League. So we used to have welcome Playground Cricket League sponsored by Welcome Supermarket. So
What did you get for the sponsorship? Did you get a free apple at the end of the game, or?
no idea. It was a long time
I
ago.
remember I played in the playground league as well.
Oh,
It was-
really?
It was a big thing. Like loads of schools joined in the competition.
Yeah, there was a lot. When I started playing, it was around 10, 12 schools. Yeah.
And so obviously after primary school, when you say 11 or 12, when you first started, where did you go? Did you play any secondary school cricket in Hong Kong?
Yeah, so I went to Sarai Skadu Secondary School. It's known for cricket as well. Obviously, when I went to school, there was big names in the school for cricket. Like
Name some names.
we got Mushi,
Oh yeah.
Ghulam Mustafa used to play national team as well. We got Uzi, who's
now
a
at
coach now.
KCC.
Yeah,
As well.
and there are
Big
few
names.
as well who played nationals. So when I started there, it was obviously hard for me to get into the team. So I waited 2 years, 3 years to get my chance.
I can't believe that Ateeq Iqbal will be waiting for the chance there to get into the school team.
Yeah, well, I mean, when he gets in, all of a sudden they've gone, oh, we've wasted 2 years. Should have had him in earlier. So were you playing any tape ball at the same time, or was it only just the school league stuff?
Nah, just school league stuff. At the same time, I was into, as I said, I was into football as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was in a football school team.
So,
Was it?
as you waited to get in the cricket team, were you actually higher up in the school soccer team? Was that going to come a path for you, do you think, playing football?
Nah, at that time, both sports was just interest. Yeah, just fun.
So you mentioned there some big names at Salis Kuduri, like you had Uzi, and you also mentioned Mustafa. Just I wanted to bring that one up. Tell us a little bit about Mustafa.
Yeah, but you guys are related, right?
He's my brother.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
mentioned it like just a complete stranger at school, literally your brother that played for Hong Kong, China.
Yeah, so Mushi is my brother, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess half of the KCC doesn't know that. But yes, he is my brother.
So because he played, like you said, he played for Hong Kong. So he opened the bowling for Hong Kong with Afzal Haider many years ago. I remember I would have been maybe only 12 or 13 at the time. I remember him and Afzal actually bowling out Singapore at HKCC, and it was called the Tunku Jafar. They used to play Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand, and he dismantled the whole batting lineup there. So now that you've made it into the Hong Kong team, have you discussed with him yet who's taken more international wickets?
Obviously, I just started, so obviously he played more games than me. Just give me a year or two, I'll go past him.
So even back in high school, was there always a rivalry between you two? You're both bowlers. You both eventually ended up in Hong Kong. So was there the rivalry, or you were always happy to be on the same team together?
No, we haven't played in the same team.
Never.
Never. Except Saturdays, a year maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so also with obviously we mentioned your 1 or 2 years, you think you might overtake your brother's wicket haul. You're well known for probably, well, I'm Premier League captain at KCC. I've never ever received a message on the group or from you saying, I can't play this week, I'm injured. I think you're the only person in Hong Kong history who hasn't sent that text, I can't play, because
You were quite
I'm
injured last year during the season early on, weren't you? If I recall correctly, there was some niggle, and you still played.
Yeah, I got a fractured thumb.
Yeah,
but luckily it was
just a lazy fractured thumb.
He's usually bowling with the right hand, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you say? What's your secret to keeping that fitness all the time? How come you're not injured, but everyone else is? What's the secret for Ateeq?
To be honest, there is no secret. Just mentally strong.
Mentally strong.
Yeah, mentally strong.
There's no such thing as injuries in your mind. That's why you keep going. You battle through those injuries.
I want to touch on the fact you're in your 30s now, and now you've got the opening bowling job for Hong Kong, China, and bowling beautifully. You went through all your 20s, obviously playing cricket and playing for KCC. It was a slow burn to get up into that position. Did you ever think perhaps it was never going to happen to represent Hong Kong, China?
Yeah, actually there was a time where I lost my hope to play for the national team, but all my focus was obviously perform in Premier League, and like the selectors or coaches know that I'm in a line, and hopefully after struggling for 6-7 years I finally got my chance.
Well, after that fractured thumb, it's been a meteoric rise for Ateeq Iqbal, going from playing with a fractured thumb, playing in Premier League, just playing in the local. Then all of a sudden you get a call up. There's the mixed tournaments that we're having out at Tin Kwong Road. You're on the fringe, and then you're in, and then we watch you live from Malaysia or wherever they're playing, or in Oman, and the bowling is just exceptional. I mean, you were always really good to watch when you were younger, but now you've just seemed to have taken it to a new level.
It's obviously my mindset. I'm more into taking wickets. So in my mind, it's always that I bowl 4 overs in T20. If I give less than 25-30 runs, I'm more than happy with that.
One thing you're noted for when we watch here, either at KCC or internationally, you bowl on a handkerchief. Like the ball control, you're going to put it, you know where it's going to land. Is that something that you've learned over the last 15, 20 years of playing cricket in Hong Kong, or is it something new that you've been practicing?
Obviously, it's something I learned, to be honest. When I started coaching back in 2016, I was bowling all over the ground, but since I started coaching, obviously my students or any young member of KCC watching me playing, the things I teach them, if I can't do it on the field, so it's pointless teaching, to be honest.
So is it the fact that because you became a coach and you're watching the youngsters make the same mistake, that you've taught yourself?
Yep. Obviously that's a turning point in my life, to be honest, with my bowling, when I start coaching.
So also you played many important role in your cricketing career. Is there? I know there's plenty of times we've had some fantastic Premier League wins together for KCC. Has there been a standout performance for you that you think back fondly, like that was one of my favourite games of cricket that I played in?
Yeah, obviously my first 8-wicket haul in a game against HKCC in a 2-day game up there at HKCC. Obviously, I love bowling with the red ball, especially playing against HKCC.
Because I was actually going to ask you as well, what's your favourite format? But I know that was going to be a wasted question because you give Ateeq a red ball and a 2-day game, he'll set it in for the day. Because I think when that 8-wicket haul, it was something like a 16 or 17 over spell on the trot. You just bowled 16 or 17 overs from one end, and we're having to rotate the seamers from the other end because they were getting so tired.
Yes, I remember it was 18.
Oh, 18, so my mistake. 16 or 17, I've sold you short there. But
then we had a break for 6 hours. Then I came back in for another 6-7 hours, I guess.
So is that your favourite game each year? You're going to play the Fincher this year up at HK, not the Fincher, the other Shield
Hancock
up,
Shield.
the Hancock Shield
up at
this
HKCC.
year in December. Is that what you look forward to most, or is it just all of it now that you've got so much cricket going on?
No. Obviously, there's so much national tours coming up, but with the red ball, anytime I'm gonna play for next 10 years maybe.
Well, we want to touch on the fact that so many tours coming up, because we're going to have later on, maybe in 2 podcast time, we'll get your head coach Simon Willis on to talk about those tours. But you're going to be, well, I haven't seen the team list, but I'm assuming you're going to be named, and you're off to Oman. And then you were saying, Jamie, Cape Town as well?
There was rumours of a pre-tour to Cape Town as well before going to...
Simon told me they're definitely
Uganda.
going to Oman and then Tanzania, I think.
Is Uganda for the...
Oh, Uganda, yeah.
There needs to be some time to obviously get some cricket.
I don't know why we're arguing. Neither of us are going.
Yeah,
we should
true,
just ask Ateeq, who's just
No,
sitting here.
I got no idea about that as well.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just
It's very
it's a
cagey.
rumors, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the tour's coming up and we'll have the teams very shortly. We're assuming you're going to be on it, but otherwise, you've got heaps of cricket coming forward this season. Looking forward to. Let's start with the fact that you play for the Infidels.
Yes.
Here at KCC, the Infidels that... Look, I'm going to put this in for Botters because he says it so often about how the Infidels were robbed going up into Div 1 over COVID. So many times it was an absolute travesty. But the Infidels have stayed in Div 2. You're the Premier League bowler for KCC, but you continue to play Div 2. What's that all about?
Obviously, when I started playing Sunday League, I played for Infidels. So it's been around 14, 15 years playing for Infidels. There was few times where I've been asked to move, but to be honest, I enjoy playing in Infidels with my teammates more. Been playing with me for years now, so I'm enjoying it.
It seems to be a thing at KCC as well. Like for me, I've always been a Templar. So it's like you sort of go into one team, you get a close bunch of friends in that team, and you sort of stay with them. I know we play together in the Premier League stuff, but like you said, you're obviously mentoring that team as well as a coach.
Well, that's the other thing, because the Infidels tends to have a bit of a younger lineup because it's in Div 2. Do you find, is that one of the reasons you like being in the Infidels, because you're also a mentor and coach?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons. Then the main reason is obviously we were playing Div 1, then we relegated to Div 2, and it was all because of us. Obviously, I want to take Infidels back to Div 1 as well.
So you're going to be an Infidel until you get back to Div 1 minimum?
Yes.
But he's got, like I said, 10, 15 years left of getting loads and loads of wickets in that 2-day game. Loads and loads of wickets for Infidels as well.
No, like we talked about that meteoric rise. The 20s were a bit wild and wayward. Learned to be a coach, and then all of a sudden in the 30s now, Premier opening bowler for Hong Kong, China. So you've probably got plenty of years left. Fittest man, one of the fittest men in Hong Kong cricket.
Absolutely. Also, I wanted to ask you, I know you're obviously well respected around the Hong Kong cricket circles, being one of the, like we said, the premier seamers in the region. Buschy often talks, when he has guests on the podcast, about Hong Kong cricket in general. Are there any seam bowlers, that maybe focus on seam bowlers, that you think haven't played for Hong Kong at the moment, could be trying to force their way in? Anyone that you think could be useful to the team?
Who's the up-and-coming Ateeq Iqbal?
I would say Darsh Vora. I'm seeing him for 2-3 years now. He's been bowling well. It's similar to me. Just keep the ball in one area all the time. And if he keep working hard, in few years, we'll see him in national team as well.
Did you do much coaching with Darsh?
Nah, but there is a time when he came up to me and asked questions. Obviously, I'm ready to help anytime he wants.
Now, well, he played in your team, the Templars, on the weekend, Jamie, and we all were watching the broadcast, and he's got a yard or two quicker just in the off-season, so he's getting faster as well. And as you say, he's the one to watch out for, you say?
Yep.
So you've got possibly the international games coming up the tour. We don't know about that. The Hong Kong Sixers, if you're not going, is an interest. You've got the Premier League coming up as well in December, the 2-day game in December as well. You've got a lot of cricket on your hands at the moment, plus coaching as well here at KCC.
Yeah, obviously, due to COVID by 2019 until 2022, we didn't have enough cricket, so it's good to have more cricket in Hong Kong.
Can you also, obviously now you're contracted with CHK, right, in a full-time role? Can you tell the listeners a little bit about what's the training regime that you'll do? I know you guys are on a little bit of a break at the moment, right, after the long, the lengthy tour that you've been on. What's a little insight into a week of a cricketer in Hong Kong?
Yeah, obviously, now we do 4 days a week, 2 days of nets and 2 days of gym. So in the gym, obviously, there's a different group as well with the bowlers and batting doing different gym stuff for them. Yeah.
So in the gym, who's lifting the most weights?
Yep.
Would you say?
Name names.
It's a big one.
Bit of a
Who's the gym rat?
So let's go for lifting the most weights, and who tries to...
Look, I love Ateeq, and he's a brilliant bowler, and he bowls on a handkerchief, but I'm not assuming he's going to be the one. to be doing the biggest weights. Very tall, very skinny.
Let's go heaviest weights, and the person who basically walks around trying to look like they're doing something.
Yeah, but no names in the bowling lineup.
But they actually
Who's doing what?
But they don't do anything.
Obviously, let's go with the most weights. I think it's Anshi at the moment.
Really?
And
Anshi?
Martin as
Martin,
well.
okay.
Yeah, both of them. And who's walking around pretending to do something. I'm not gonna name it, but it's a very good off spinner.
I was gonna suggest the same one.
Yeah, it's hard to grip the barbells with all that tape on your hands. We're saying no names. Ateeq Iqbal, it's been so great having you on the podcast. We've wanted you for the first season, but now you're joining us with Jamie. Good luck if you're off to Oman and to Uganda coming up with the Cricket League Challenge. It's been so great having you on.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And now it's time for Buschy's birthday bonanza.
Yep, time for Buschy's birthday bonanza, and we're going to go back a bit before we go forward and wish people happy birthday, because somebody had a secret birthday on Sunday, Jamie, and they didn't tell us. And they're playing in your team. They opened the batting for your team on Sunday for the Templars, turning 31 last Sunday. Sunny Bimsaria.
I was going to say Roy Lamsam, then he said 31.
Yeah.
And Roy definitely would have told me it was his birthday.
Yeah, true. So happy birthday to the secret of Sunny.
He's a quiet man. He kept that one quiet.
He kept it very quiet because the team didn't know.
We'll get him on Sunday.
Yep. And going forward, first birthday, 2 birthdays on the 21st. One from the Cricket Hong Kong women's side, Yasmin Dazwani, now at KCC as well as a coach, and going to be a guest podcast host coming up in the future very soon when they get back from tour. So that's exciting.
That's just been an interesting one, yeah.
Yeah,
Happy birthday, Yaz.
Happy birthday on the 21st for Yaz, and also on the 21st from formerly of the Crusaders, now plying his trade at university over in the UK. Charlie Walsh will turn 19 on the 21st. That's a happy birthday to Charlie.
Happy birthday, Charlie. Hope you're enjoying the UK.
Dusty. He's
Dusty,
Dusty. From Pac Premier, Alian Zahir Muhammad having a birthday on September 22nd. He's also turning 19, so happy birthday to Alian Zahir Muhammad.
Happy birthday, but hopefully no birthday runs if he is playing against us on
That's true.
on Sunday.
Yeah, and one more birthday, September 24. So I'm not sure where that is. Next Tuesday, I think. From Kowloon Cricket Club, the former under-19 Hong Kong China men's captain, turning 20, no longer under-19. Ahan Trivedi having a birthday.
Happy birthday, Ahan.
Yep, there's the birthdays. Happy birthday to Sunny last weekend, and coming up this weekend, Yasmin, Charlie, Alian and Ahana. Big happy birthday to them all.
Enjoy.
Hi, this is Babar Hayat, Hong Kong national player, and you are listening to 8 for 52 broadcast with Buschy.
Jamie, the podcast is coming to an end. Our second guest host, episode 3 of the 8 for 52 podcast, season 2. Another massive one.
It was a huge one. I mean, it started off with some interesting stats about the 9th most listened to podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's very
In
important.
Russia.
Yep, I love it. Big shout out to our Russian listeners.
I will be listening next week to see if there's been any updates in different countries about who's listened to the podcast.
I did see that we're getting a constant listener or two in Serbia.
In Serbia?
Yeah, that's interesting. Hello, whoever is listening in Serbia. Beautiful place, apparently. I've not been.
Could maybe organise some sort of tour out there.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Podcast on tour.
Now we're talking.
Well, talking about...
We need a spot. You were talking about trying to get a sponsor for the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a sponsor.
Tourism
on
Serbia can sponsor us to go to Serbia and do a podcast.
Sign me up for that.
Big one. We talked about lots of moves and changes in Hong Kong cricket. We had massive games, a few washouts, but big games on Wednesday. What about our My Story guest this week, Ateeq Iqbal? What a legend.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic to get him on the podcast. I know you've been trying a long time to get him on, and what a fantastic fella.
Well, he's a bit cagey. He doesn't like this broadcasting bit. It's hard to get him behind a microphone, but we did. We nailed him down, and what an interview it was.
And absolutely, and you get that red ball in his hand as well. 18 over spell. You know you're in for a tough one as a batter. So
and talking about KG, he was cagey about the tours coming up, but we know he's going to be going off to tour.
I'll be surprised
in our heart.
I'll be surprised if he isn't. But there's some. Like I said, again, you mentioned the tours, some fantastic stuff coming up for the CHK, Hong Kong China men's team and some very important ones as well.
No, he confirmed that perhaps Cape Town's on the cards. Also, I heard a bit of a whisper about Sri Lanka.
Oh, Sri Lanka, another fantastic place to play cricket. You can't complain if you go in there. So.
I went to a game. I watched a game in Kandy once.
Okay.
A beautiful spot. Watch a game of cricket. I didn't go to Galle, where everybody loves to go to, where the fort's there. I went to the one that's in the middle of the country. Yeah, beautiful cricket. They love their cricket in Sri Lanka. So if Hong Kong, China can go there as well, it'll be fantastic. You know what's been fantastic?
What's that?
Having you as guest podcast co-host this week. It's been another brilliant one. You had the high bar set from Chris Carter, and you've performed admirably, if not better.
Well, I think that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me, Buschy, but I don't know if there's some sort of ulterior motive.
No.
Maybe
the ulterior motive is that you're coming back on in about 6 months' time to do the same job, because I don't have enough guest podcasts.
We'll see if there's any viewership going up in different countries, whether you call me back again, or whether if I've got less viewership than Chris Carter, I will be very, very
If there's only one listener, the podcast will go out every week, no matter what, because people in Hong Kong want to know about their cricket, and this podcast is the number one cricket podcast in Hong Kong because it's the only one. And that's an easy way to get to number one. Jamie, thank you again so much for coming on today. It's been another great podcast episode. Should we go home?
Let's do it. I think we've got to do it, yeah.
Okay, see ya.
Hello, good morning. We're tossing a coin to begin.
The 8 for 52 theme song is The Coin Toss from the band The Duckworth-Lewis Method. Find them on Apple iTunes and YouTube and download that song and all their other cricket-related music.
The 8 for 52 podcast is edited, produced and published by Matt Botfield and Aaron Bush for Trip Ahead Limited. Copyright 2024.
I'll go in for a bat, and that's that.